Welcome into Inside LAFC, the Max and Vince podcast, joining you from glorious Blaine, Minnesota.
They didn't see that coming. They did not see that coming.
We love to be at training in eastern Los Angeles, but we're here for the All-Star game.
That is your political answer now.
Yeah, that's it. That's as far as it goes. It's Max and Vince joining you from All-Star Week. We are actually here in Blaine, which is the National Sports Center, where I got to broadcast and Vince got to witness the MLS Next All-Star game. It's 17, 16, 15-year-olds. Saw an LAFC Academy player here. Did okay. Ryan had a good shot on goal. Where we're seeing that next generation, which is still very new, and this will be our launching point for the podcast. Mm-hmm. But it's very exciting because everyone wants to see the next big thing, right? And we might have seen him here. Brian McBride.
Ernie Stewart?
Ernie Stewart. I'm sorry, Ernie. I should know that he's a legend.
Brian McBride, Ernie Stewart was here. I saw
Nick Romano, Taylor Twellman, Javi Morales, all the guys.
Well, that was Javi Morales.
That was Javi Morales.
Okay.
He was coaching the Eastern All-Stars because he's affiliated with Inter Miami. But you take these opportunities because I guarantee you that you might have seen him. You might have said, I remember seeing him when he was 15. That's a good feeling.
I don't know if anyone's going to believe this, but I'm being completely honest with you. This has been the best part of All-Star for me.
Why? What happened?
Just these kids and seeing the talent coming through, and also it's I will say this: looking around, not just having you and Jamie do the call, but the amount of cameras they use. Like MLS took this very seriously. I'd say if you got to watch at home, you were probably like, "Wow, that was really good." This was almost a full MLS broadcast for a youth game, and then the talent on the field, the talent in the stands, and it was just All-Star games are all about pomp and circumstance.
Yes.
And
this is an actual tangible thing.
Yeah, and of course you and I we're celebrities and we're known for being wanting to be a part of that, but we're actually just normal guys, and we appreciate the real substance and product. And I'm not saying the All-Star game isn't a substance and product, but it's a lot about front-facing and glitz and glamour. And this was pure football. I mean, we got the 1974 Holland PK goal.
They did a little trick. The East was down a goal, and then they got the penalty, and it was Adam Perlman, who's for Toronto FC, slotted the ball over to Benjamin Kramaski. I've got the names. Who plays for Inter Miami. He hit it home, and then the East would score a goal later. But I agree with you. This is real. They shoehorn this All-Star week. It's not. There's no one really gets time off. LAFC and all the other clubs are busy training, except for the All-Stars here, who it's got to be difficult because they get on a plane. Look, those guys got on a plane from Salt Lake, came here. It's an honor. They're thrilled to be here. They do get to decompress a bit, but not a lot. They have a training. They go to the skills conference. They go to the game. They probably have a dinner, but they don't really. It's not a leisure trip by any means.
You don't get to put your feet up.
No, you don't get to put it up, and then you fly right back. Because remember, LAFC has Charlotte FC, which you can see on KCOP 13 this coming Saturday. So it's not a break. So you can't call it a break. It's not an All-Star weekend. It's an All-Star week, but it's important. LA hosted it last year, and it was a non-traditional one because we just came back from COVID. Remember, LA was supposed to host it the year prior. It got pushed back. So it was an anti-climax, and it happened. I hope LA gets a chance to do it again. The Galaxy will probably get to do it as a host at some point sooner than LAFC. But this was really well run. Minnesota put their best foot forward. The skills competition was very well attended. The All-Star game is tonight, so we'll see it. But I'm sure it's going to be great. And it's
skills was a blast.
Yeah, and it's year 2 of Liga MX, where you can see, and we heard of the Leagues Cup. Mikel Arriola was talking to Herculez Gomez and Sebastian Salazar and Mauricio Pedrosa.
He's a little worried.
He's worried.
He's a little worried. Actually, a lot. I wouldn't say a little. He's a lot worried.
He gave you hard data. He goes
600% investment over the past 12 years. That was the one that stuck out to me from MLS. But you're right.
But what I stuck out to me goes, we have 35 players playing in Europe. MLS has, or United States has like 120.
I know, it's incredible.
That's a gulf.
A lot of data points. And Hercules has been banging this drum for a while. So I think for him, he had a little bit of a smirk.
Indication.
Like, yeah, you're right. You're right. I've been saying it, haven't I?
Yeah.
He's like, listen to what this man's saying. He's running the whole league.
So it's there's a lot there. And because of that, these opportunities are important. And I guarantee you the players, everyone at Liga MX is reminded this is an important day. It's almost to the point where it should be a shared all-star space. Only America does all-star games.
Right.
Everyone frowns at it, but now Mexico might be going, it's fun. It's a financial windfall.
Right.
People get into it. It's different. Why not?
Well, you did the skills and you did a great job.
Thank you. Really?
I have to
honestly.
No, we were in the stands for it, and I was
Could you hear me screaming?
We were keeping the energy up.
That's what I was there for.
You had a lot of good one-liners when guys were doing. I gotta ask you.
I laughed.
Before I get to my real question, did any of the players in because some of the things you were like giving little, I wouldn't say snarky, but you were giving good little zingers. Did any of the players look at you and go?
I missed it. There was one where someone whizzed it way over the crossbar, and I laughed, and I felt bad because these are all-stars. They were really impressive.
So you
I
caught
was more impressed.
So you caught it then, because I was like,
I might hear about it later.
Okay, you think so? Well, okay. Here's my real question. So you were down there, and you just said, this is an event. A lot of people will say, well, they're not taking it seriously. What was the vibe of the guys down there?
They're taking it seriously. They're having fun, but once the events get closer, I remember Chicharito clapping like he's on the field, going, come on, guys, firing him up. I was like, yeah. And then the celebration, that crossbar challenge, which started by accident. I got to host it in 2019 in Orlando, and they had all these skills because they were trying. It was like trial and error.
Oh, right. You could get points if you hit targets, but if you hit the crossbar, you got the most. And all the
everyone
players were
kept launching the crossbar.
Baby.
And you realize that when you go to a training, everyone's aiming for the crossbar.
I literally saw it on Tuesday with the All-Stars. Carlos Vela got a ball. He looked up. I'm going to try to hit that crossbar.
It's like more satisfying to hit a crossbar than it is to put a ball in the back of the net.
Because there's just a lot. It's tactile. It's like it hit ping, you get the little ping.
That's a great way to describe it. So they realized, let's make a crossbar challenge. They had this cushion so they couldn't really see what they've got to do.
I thought that was a mistake.
They've got to get the crossbar and then just have it illuminated like the puck was in the NHL, or makes it sound like, maybe me going, yes, every time.
We call it the glow bar.
The glow bar. That's my contribution to the All-Star weekend coming up.
Max Bredos.
So they were into it, and people remember. I remember last year in LA when Liga MX celebrated when Cabecita Rodriguez hit the crossbar, and they went bonkers.
Who?
Cabecita.
Oh, I didn't know that he's still around.
That was the guy.
No, I'm kidding.
I thought that was a...
Sorry, that's a for those of you...
Because we thought he was going to be an LAFC player.
Well, and somebody reminded me, they go...
Do you think he sits around, oh my God, I could have been part of that?
Maybe. Well, because somebody reminded me because Ilia was here, and they go, remember your take about Ilia and Cabecita way back? I go, not only do I look good for Ilia, but Cabecita not exactly thriving for Club America. So I thought that was...
Sorry, getting some errant audio coming through.
Look at Max knowing how to turn the knobs here.
Turn the knobs. So, but... It's a good reminder how things change so much in our business, because we were preparing for a club surrounded, aiming for Cabecita Rodriguez, and then now it's taken a pivot, and a nice pivot.
Yeah, now
where
it's Gareth Bale, Giorgio Chiellini, and
maybe in MLS history.
And Denny Bouanga coming through. Wait a minute, I mean, should we talk about that? You're not having a chance to talk about that.
We have, by the way, before I go any further, Vince sat down from a very secret location with Connor Kalopsis of 110 Football, and they spoke to Ilia Sanchez to document the All-Star experience.
Second segment.
It's the second segment, and Carlos Vela, as well as Chiqui Palacios are here. They were all there in street clothes, cheering with the MLS All-Stars at the skills competition. So I think that is the most fun they have. They're there. They don't have to play. They can enjoy that. They have great conversations. I saw Carlos next to Walker Zimmerman with his newborn, having a conversation.
Cute kid.
Vela and Chicharito, they're all having a good time. Chicharito and all the Liga MX, they idolize him. They're looking at him. So it's a very cool situation for that. So we were talking about Denny Bouanga. You're right.
Denny Bouanga, the third and final DP that they can have for this season. He comes from Saint Etienne, who just got relegated, but his season in Saint Etienne, when they got relegated, 9 goals, 6 assists last year. Fun stat that I put out there that a lot of people have latched onto. It's no secret. 8 games against the top 4 in France that season. He had 4 goals in 8 games, including a goal in each game against PSG. So the dude's a big-time player. You can say what you will about him getting relegated, but...
Saint Etienne is a club laced in history. It's I think regarded as maybe the best supported club in France, so it's an absolute tragic that they got relegated. But that's the way it is, and LAFC benefiting by this relegation. They were really bad. That's the only thing that gives me pause. Saint Etienne had such a bad year.
Yeah.
It wasn't Bouanga's fault. He was like the bright spark of it,
right.
But he was a bright spark of a miserable campaign. But that miserable campaign put Saint Etienne in a situation where they had to sell a player maybe for less than market value, a player that wants to leave. He doesn't want to go to Ligue 2.
No, yeah, when that happens, it's like...
Yeah, he's going to go somewhere.
I'm too good for that. He's probably was already looking at saying, well, how do I get into the top 4 as a player? I mean, I should maybe be looking at the Monacos, the PSGs. I know Sam Stechko reported with The Athletic that actually this goes back a while. LAFC's been tracking Denny Bouanga for a while.
That's every thing. These are not things that click, except maybe for Gareth Bale. It's just like, hey.
Gareth Bale's the only one that, like, I know how many windfalls are LAFC going to get? Giorgio Chiellini, hey, Italy didn't make it. I'll go to LA. Denny Bouanga, I'm down. I'll go to LA. Gareth Bale's like, yeah, my contract's up.
I got to get ready for the World Cup.
Yeah, reach out to LAFC, see what they think.
It's impressive. I will say this, too. Like, Luis Suarez says he wants to get ready for the World Cup. He went to play in Uruguayan football. I would say Gareth Bale is preparing himself a lot better than Luis Suarez, all due respect.
Yes.
Playing Rentistas and Danubio. If they get knocked out of the South American Cup, which they're playing this week, then it's a real problem. And I think they will. They need to turn over a second leg. And I could be wrong by the time you're listening to this podcast. But Bouanga's also a move for the future, and far be it for us to say that.
Now in the future, for sure, in his prime.
Carlos Vela is on for 18 months. Maybe that's the end of his contract. If he goes a little longer, he's going to be 35, 36. The end is coming into view at some point. He still looks amazing. Maybe he's the exception, but that is coming. So LAFC are looking ahead to the post-Carlos Vela era. And I'm not saying Bouanga is that replacement, but he is part of that next thing because he's 20.
No, I'm agreeing. I'm actually going to agree.
But he's 20. He's 27.
I think he's
not a guy you're going to sell on. This is a guy that their intention is to keep as an LAFC shirt. So although you don't know a lot about Denny Bouanga, everything would tell you now that this is a guy, if you're an LAFC supporter, is going to be with the club for the long haul.
Looking at his numbers, looking at his profile, hearing from people that have watched him extensively, I'm going to agree with you. I think that this is a Carlos Vela-esque signing, but he's not. He's obviously he's born in France, but plays for the Gabon national team. So Carlos Vela, Mexican national team, LA, just everything about it. You're like, oh my God, screams it. But in terms of just what the product is on the pitch in the football player and coming in his prime, Denny Bouanga is a lot like the Carlos Vela signing in terms of a DP. This is not Diego Rossi. This is not even Brian Rodriguez, who you would say went even more young. This guy's ready now. He's going to contribute now. And one of the best things is he went through his whole preseason with San Etienne, played 90 minutes in their first game. The only fitness he's going to need is the time that he spent between getting his visa and getting on that plane to get on the pitch. So he's ready to go.
Yeah.
And this is not like Gareth Bale and Giorgio Chiellini. You had to build slowly. He's going to be ready to go. And I think in terms of being the finished product, he's flat out ready to go and will be one of the best players in this league.
Wow, great sell. By the way, you mentioned Diego Rossi. There was a player named Diego Rossi who plays for the New York City.
But he's a right back.
He's a right back. Long hair.
When I heard the substitution
from New York City.
I perked up. I was like, excuse me?
I will say, during the broadcast, I got to sing the Diego Rossi song, but for this Diego Rossi, which didn't apply because he didn't score the first goal against the Sounders.
You know what's funny?
But it was good to sing that song again.
In non-LAFC things, there's been a lot of fun LAFC stuff. I don't know if you got to see the Walker Zimmerman announcing the skills challenge.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
It's been fun. So sprinkling little black and gold nuggets all throughout the thing. But good man, that Walker Zimmerman.
For everyone who's been here from the beginning, and for those who've not, to talk about, hey, we started with Walker Zimmerman and Diego Rossi, and now they've already been elsewhere for 2 years, and now we're getting new players, and the history of this club is happening before our eyes. It's exciting. Makes you feel a little old too, because you don't want the clock to go too fast.
I got a chance to catch up with Walker, which was a cool moment. First of all, because he remembered me. Thank God. Imagine how awkward that would have been. Hey, Walker, who are you?
Yeah. Vince.
But I got the chance to tell him the stat that I shared with you was the fact that he's played more for Nashville than LAFC. He goes, isn't that wild?
Yeah.
How time flies. He goes, the bubble and everything, it just happened so fast. And then I got to ask him about Tucker, who we all got to see on the broadcast.
Who I went to Walker yesterday. I go, dude, your baby looks exactly like you. He goes, you think? I go, yes, it is Walker's face on this little cute frame.
Kid.
Walker's a good-looking guy, so that Tucker's got some good things to look forward to.
Got some good DNA going on.
Yeah, I could not be happier for Walker. Financially, very well set. Mm-hmm. Nashville's struggling a bit right now, but that's a club with high hopes, new stadium, and he's going to be heading to the World Cup where he might start every game for the U.S.
Yeah.
He might. He's going to start some games.
I mean, he's really picked up that Captain America mantle. I know we used to just kid around, but
unbelievable.
The man was.
Remember, he was an Atlanta United player. That's so everyone goes LAFC. You jettisoned, but we weren't the first to do it. But that trade will always come up. But it was a different time.
You mean FC Dallas, not Atlanta?
FC Dallas. I'm sorry.
You must have Miles Robinson.
I was thinking, but FC Dallas. But
yeah. No, but he was very. I mean, without Walker Zimmerman, I don't know if the national team makes the World Cup. I mean, remember
Yikes, that's terrifying.
Well, remember, it was like center back after center back falling off. And then a guy would come in, like Chris Richards would come in and have a good game, and we all go, that's the guy. We need that guy. We need him to start injured. And the only guy that was like really the consistent, tried and true through every game was Walker Zimmerman. We're not trying to make you sad, LAFC fans. We've got some great center backs now.
Well, we're not making you sad. You're making me happy because I didn't want to miss the World Cup.
Nope.
I mean, we know some LAFC supporters have different national allegiances, but for those who support the United States, they don't want to go through that.
No. You want Mexico, you want the United States, you want Canada, you want CONCACAF to be represented. We want even the El Salvador and Honduras to get in there sometimes because there's some good young talent, and it makes the league better too. You and I have talked about that as El Salvador has kind of both El Salvador and Honduras had to start from square one, right? They had to really kind of look at it again. I think they've started to see what they have to do, and a lot of those guys are coming through MLS and making their national teams better. I think Marco Garces is the one that shared that with us.
Yes. 4 CONCACAF teams going to the World Cup, that's good. And all these countries are developing. Maybe they don't hit their targets, but a high tide, lifts all boats. And the USA and Mexico and Canada lifted. And these are games now that are important for El Salvador and Honduras. Honduras is a very good program. They're hitting a bad spot, but they'll be back. There's so much talent down there. And they'll be back with a lot of good games on the calendar. And look, CONCACAF improves. There's as many CONCACAF teams in the World Cup as there are CONMEBOL teams. So that's something to hang your hat on. So this is
looking at you, Peru. No.
Peru. Ooh.
That was a tough game.
I met a lot of Peruvians.
Hard to watch. Yeah, because it was hard to watch. I don't think they recognize their team.
Yeah.
And I think that's the saddest part. It's one thing to lose, but it's another thing to lose and go, who is this? That's not the way we play.
Very disappointing. Very disappointing. So the All-Star week is a great experience. Next year it's going to be in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
I highly recommend. We saw a lot of LAFC folks. I saw Jeff Huber there. A lot of people who cover the team up here as well, and it's a great place to schmooze. I haven't had time to schmooze, which I'm a little disappointed. I haven't had a chance to get my drink on either, quite frankly. I've not been hung over this whole week.
Busy. I saw Max for about 15 minutes after like the first day we were here, and other than that, I have not seen you.
With these new broadcasts, I guess I should be buoyed by the fact that MLS has asked me to do these things, so I'm thrilled.
Good.
But it doesn't mean anything. But the broadcast deal is going to be exciting, but we're still kind of in a holding pattern.
Yeah, it is a hot topic in and around whispers, and a lot of people wondering what's going to go on. I think a lot of our fans are wondering what's going to go on because they care about you. They want to hear your broadcast. They want to hear your call. And I'm happy. When you told me all the things you were doing, I said, wow, that sounds like a lot. But I said, hey, if they're calling you, because this is a showpiece event, that you're on their mind.
Yeah. So don't screw it up is what I thought.
Yes.
So far, so
good.
Which
is the correct. But I'm going to be doing the correct reaction.
I'm going to do the All-Star game, and I still have one chance to foul it up. I think I'm clear on my first 2 obligations.
Good.
So it's the All-Star game is a great place to come out and see a lot of people. We have a great community in that cover this sport. Whether it's I saw Imad last night. Whether it's photographers, whether it's producers, on air, administrators, they're good people. So I always enjoy it. I wish I got to share a little bit more with them, but so be it. We'll get to do it another
Maybe
time.
Next time.
Yeah. So check out an All-Star. It's a good hoot, and these are going to get bigger and better because stuff like this, the resources.
This is well attended too.
This was well attended, and look, MLS has its flaws, and it has a perception that it shakes all the time, but you can't deny it. These MLS detractors, they go, "Oh, I don't watch MLS. Oh, I only watch it for young players." Well, look, you gotta tune in. It's good. Oh, there's no defending. Por favor.
Giorgio would beg to differ.
Who wants 50? I mean, did everyone see Everton Chelsea this weekend?
Oh God, yeah.
West Ham Man City. I got up early to watch my Hammers. I was barely fighting to keep my eyes open.
I will say, when we talk about defending, the one thing that we have to learn, and Giorgio Chiellini's teaching us along the way, when defenders know the rules, they can do things like he did in that RSL game.
Can we explain something quick?
That was a tactical move, and I think
genius.
I think it even goes beyond it because I think he knew that Eddie Segura was coming in soon, and he was like, okay, this is gonna be my last couple plays in the game. Oh no, I'm not gonna get beat and possibly give up a goal here, so I'll take the yellow because that's the trade-off. So for a center back, and Giorgio Chiellini knows this well because I believe this happened in a Champions League game. 2 minutes in, he slipped and fell, and the ball was rolling, and he went and grabbed it. And No one batted an eye there in Europe. It's funny the amount of people that are saying, oh, he's making a mockery in our league. No, in Europe, no one batted an eye because here's the trade-off. He gets a yellow card. Hey, guess what? You're a center back that now has to play 88 minutes or whatever it is through that game on a yellow card. But in this instance, it was later in the game. I think he knew he was coming out. So he goes, I'm not going to get beat here. It's at midfield. The worst that he can do to me is give me a yellow card. I'll take it. I'll go off the field. Fresh legs, Eddie Segura, no yellow card. Wipe the slate clean. And there we go.
So in order to, as I texted him after it, he said, in order to have a dogzo, you need to have a gazo, a goal scoring opportunity. There was no gazo. There was no gazo. It was nothing. It was in midfield. No one's so. Don't get up in arms.
And I would say, look, there's four. Now I'm gonna get myself in trouble. There's 14. No, it's not that. I'm saying this. Read the rule book. The soccer rule book is one of the smallest in any major sport. It's 14 laws.
You have it in your back pocket right now.
You probably could. I think it's like 60 pages, whereas the
so
NFL rule book is like a Bible.
Yeah.
If you look up IFAB, who takes care of those rules. He's kind of above FIFA in that way. You look up IFAB rules, laws of the game. You can read through all 14 laws. It's very quick read. It's a little bit, look, there's got to be some nuance to it, right? So it's not super easy, but you can go through it and you can understand the rules pretty quickly. And within there, and what a lot of people were saying, well, that was such an egregious handball. Nowhere in the letter of the law is egregious handball or let's say a purposeful handball is in the rules as a red card.
Try to keep it simple. That's what we love about this sport.
Right.
So let's talk about LAFC. The 3 All-Stars will turn Thursday morning, I presume, back to Los Angeles.
Oh, no, they're leaving tonight.
Right now? They're leaving tonight. Okay.
Yeah.
They're leaving tonight.
And
Carlos Vela did not participate in the skills, which was a bit of a surprise.
Nobody was there to watch?
He was there to watch, but that's okay. They'll all play a role. There's a lot at stake. You want to beat Liga MX. MLS beat them in penalties a year ago, so keep the momentum going and light the fire under that league, which is great because angry Liga MX is good for MLS in the business.
Yep.
Then they
pushing everyone forward.
Then they get towards the weekend, and I was right when people were saying people are up in arms. I don't want to be generalizing people, but they were up in arms like Gareth Bale's not starting. Oh, look, we're winning games. We've won 5 in a row, so don't start. I said he wasn't going to start that road game because he's still working. He wasn't going to start in Salt Lake probably because of the altitude. The celebration, you can see him huffing and puffing after one of the goals.
Good thing he scored.
Oh, what a goal.
Yeah, what a goal, though.
Poor Justin Glad. He's been posterized.
I know, and he's actually had a very good season.
He is there talking about maybe getting back to the national team.
Look,
and he got ridiculed, and it was on Twitter. I was like, look, he's not a bad defender.
No, he's not a bad defender. The game got stretched. He tried to body him a little bit. He found out 2 things: how strong Gareth Bale is and how quick he still is.
And the skills, and that's something he's done. We're off the ball. So I've watched it so many times. It's amazing what he does to get an advantage.
He just starts gliding.
Yeah.
And then he gets in top speed, and then the little bump and the touches, the tiniest touches, just keeping the ball just that little bit ahead of the defender.
Diego Balado, who called it on Univision, immediately pointed out, this is great when these broadcasters do this, and that's why he's really enjoyable to listen to. He says, Gareth Bale, because when people say, oh, MLS, he said, and he was accurate because the video came out, he goes, this is the exact play he did against Marc Bartra of Barcelona. He did it in the Real Madrid Barcelona game.
Right. Yeah. You skinned a player like that, just got by him, got the edge.
Don't give me this MLS.
No, it's not MLS. It was the time of the game. It was a lot of things. But back to your original point about when's Gareth going to start, I think Steve put it perfectly. He's like, there's 2 ways you can go about this. You can rush the process and maybe risk injury, and luckily, we have the luxury of waiting. You can do it along slowly, do it like kind of station to station, and then he's going to have the full fitness, and you're not having that same worry. And I think, again, this is a luxury. Gareth Bale is a luxury item, I think, in this, and we can all admit
luxury
to that.
player.
He's a luxury player.
Top clubs have luxury players.
And as much as we want to see him start, and I want to see him score a hat trick or go crazy, Steve Cherundolo has to win games, and he has to look at his entire squad and say, Gareth, I want to get you. And I think Gareth appreciates this too, because I know that Gareth wants to win with LAFC, and I know that he's looking long-term with LAFC, but he definitely has on his calendar and in his crosshairs the World Cup. And any injury now
and the Euros.
could put your World Cup in jeopardy at any point, right? So if he injures himself because he pushes himself too much, and he would do whatever Steve asks, but if Steve says, hey, don't do that, let's get you fully fit, and then that'll make you hitting on all cylinders, 1, when we're in the playoffs, and 2, when you're going to the World Cup, I think Gareth appreciates a manager that will manage him in that way.
Oh, you should do a top list of top luxury players in world soccer. That'd be fun.
Right.
Some clubs have them. I'm trying to think of some right now, but I will later.
I think we all thought when Messi went to PSG that was a luxury player, but it turns out It kind of, but then you realize who's going to defend from the front if you got Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar? And
Nobody.
Mauricio Pochettino found that out the hard way.
We knew it. But he's probably somewhat relieved, I think.
Remember a month in, he was like, I may not be here. And we're like, what? You're going to win Ligue 1? You might.
Remember said, how many trophies they win? I go, how about,
he's like, guys, trust
French
me.
League.
I know exactly what's going to happen here.
I think Gareth starts this weekend against Charlotte. What do you think? Not yet?
Tuesday.
So we have DC United. This is a big week. Back-to-back home games, both on KCOP 13.
Tuesday, and I think it's not just Gareth's fitness. We got to give a shout out to how good Mahala's been, because I think that's the position you might look.
Leaps and bounds.
Mahala and Chicho, the two positions you might look, because I don't think Carlos is coming.
We like to call Chicho the Batman of LAFC.
The Batman of LAFC.
According to In Touch with Steve Cherundolo. Take a listen to it.
Speaking of good goals, that back heel, the way he rolled it, I have not seen a goal like that. It was more than that, though. The roll, the understanding of space. I did not see it live, but when they showed the other angle, which I think our LAFC guys are the ones that grabbed it, whether it was Joe or Marco, wow. Incredible.
Great stuff.
The guy just scores goals. And again, you can say, and I can say it, and Steve will say it, we need him to do other things, and you would say that of any player. Look, you're never satisfied with a player's performance, really. You're always saying, what can we do to get better? What can we do to get better? And that's Chicho, right? But the one caveat, the trump card that he has is, I score goals. And at the end of the day, it's the most important thing to do in this sport. So you can say that, but as long as I'm scoring goals, and he's had another 2, but I want to give him credit and Mahala, who I thought set up that second goal for him. That turn, he's put nice little extra pieces to his game. He's not just a good shot and a lively dribbler.
LSU is getting better. There's a spirit about this team. They're now blowing each other. The center back combination of Murillo and Chiellini is getting better by leaps and bounds. They're so
Murillo's
comfortable. No one's making a mistake. The goal against Real Salt Lake, Murillo was kind of on the hook for, but it's minor. They have been rock solid. You have the fullbacks. There might be some more rotation there with Cheeky. Obviously, he's going to be locked down, and maybe with Franco and Ryan Hollingshead. And that 3-man midfield came back together with Kellen Acosta returning from suspension. So it could be a very similar lineup, which has served LAFC very well. And they've won 5 in a row. They're at home. They should beat Charlotte and DC United, who are not playoff teams.
Not particularly good on the road.
But teams don't win 7 in a row in Major League Soccer.
That's true.
Teams don't win on the road. LAFC have 7 road wins.
This is Man City Liverpool territory.
It is. If they're LAFC, I got to look at the records, but there's not many winning streaks of that length in MLS history.
A lot of teams that have gone unbeaten for long stretches.
Yeah, but
to win 7 on the bounce would be perfect.
And gap will grow. If they do, we don't want to just put these in the win column because they're going to be cagey. It's going to be tough to crack these teams.
I did see someone from Austin. They go, "What do you think?" I go, "I'm looking forward to that 26 game. We got some games to go in between there, but we're looking forward to playing you. I think that's going to be a great game, and I think that settles things in the West."
These teams are timid because look, Real Salt Lake were in it and at home where they don't lose. 4-1, they're losing.
Flip the switch. Yeah.
4-1. Nashville. The LAFC wasn't in at any point in that streak. Sporting Kansas City, they were never in any fear that they were going to lose these games.
Sporting, I think, used that performance to play well against the Galaxy, but that was probably Sporting's best half. And I told you, we talked about it. We said, if you're Peter Vermees and you're like, man, we put our best half together. Oh, wait, we're not winning at the break? And what can Steve Cherundolo bring in? And exactly how it happened. He made some changes at the break. Guys got their goals. Gareth Bale comes in, makes it happen. If you're at 1-1, 0-0 with LAFC at halftime, I don't know what you do. So
we'll enjoy the All-Star game, and then we'll pack our bags. We'll get back to LA. We'll see LAFC, Charlotte. We'll see you at Bank of California Stadium for all of that. So much exciting stuff here. We got to get out of here because they're doing another game here. Otherwise, we could keep talking.
We could.
Rate, review, download, subscribe, and tell a friend for Inside LAFC.
And I have to say one more thing. The only reason why we were allowed in this secret location was because head of team security Paul is not here. So Ilia was able to slide us around some security features. I don't think Paul would have let that happen.
Was he wearing his 110 football hat, Ilia?
He was wearing his 110 football hat.
What a sweet.
This is my hat. He has his own.
Yeah, I know. So we'll check in. We'll be back at the Performance Center next week. Probably not on Tuesday.
Probably on Monday.
Yep. So we'll get in there.
We're efforting Oka.
Okay. I like it.
Goalkeeper coach, you guys.
And at some point, Gareth Bale will join us because no one can escape the podcast, but we'll get there.
No one can escape that should be our tagline.
No one can escape. It's like an escape room.
Inside LAFC, the Max and Vince podcast. No one can escape this podcast.
There you go. We'll leave it at that. We'll chat with you soon. Coming up, the interview with Connor and Vince with All-Star Ilia Sanchez.
Good catch. Welcome back, everybody, to Inside LAFC, the Max and Vince podcast from a very special secret location. And because Max isn't here, it's going to be the Connor and Vince podcast. And we've got you, Ilia Sanchez, who, by the way, this is now your third time on the podcast. You're not just an MLS All-Star. You are now Inside LAFC podcast All-Star. I believe we have to bestow that on you.
Yeah, I think it's the third or the fourth even time that I'm here, but happy to be with you.
We did. We had a little live thing that we did at Media Day, so that would be 4 for you.
Correct, exactly.
You're like a media expert at this point.
Yes.
Okay, it's okay. Let's leave it there.
Well, as you guys can tell, like I said, we're in a secret location, but we are here at All-Star. We can at least give you guys that. We're here at All-Star. We're doing this ahead of the skills competition. So we've got Ilia for just about 15 minutes, and we're going to have a little chat about All-Star. So let's just to start it off, I've already talked with you about how special it is to be an All-Star. So now that you're here, the emotions, the feelings of being an All-Star again.
I'm excited. That's the main thing I can say or feel, because be able to share this experience, training sessions, and tomorrow's game with these kind of players, the best on our league. It's exciting and special.
And this is an experience that you don't really get anywhere else in the world. This is one of the only leagues that'll pick the best of the best to play in a game like this. So like how special is it playing in this league and getting recognized for your playing on the field?
I love this league. Since I joined in 2017, my expectations about it were overpassed. I mean, everything that involved the league, included the All-Star game, it was new to me.
Sure.
And now that it's my second time here, it feels exactly the same than in the first time, because new faces, new opponents in regular bases that now are teammates for a week, short week, but it's special to share field with them, and again, I'm very happy to be here.
Well, like we said, this is a very unique opportunity for you. Are there players in which you're excited to be sharing with the field with?
You can't pick Carlos and Chiqui.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very excited to be with Carlos and Chiqui here, because we get to share and to represent
Sure.
our team. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to name one in particular,
Okay.
because they are all great players, but I've got along very well with Druisi, with
Sure.
Seba, with Lucho Acosta, mainly the players that speak Spanish, with Carlos Gil, with Rui Diaz.
Yeah.
We had the dinner last night, and we all shared a table, so it's great. And tomorrow is going to be great to also share the field and play against the Mexican League All-Star, and excited for that too.
Do you find it easy to, not just the language, but the language of football? Do you find it easy to play with these guys? Because it's a new environment, and you guys got to quickly acclimate. You had 2 days of training, right? So it's just probably a couple things that Adrian gives to you.
Mm-hmm.
But do you guys just find it natural because you guys are of that level?
I mean, obviously, in LAFC, we also have that kind of level.
Make sure you get that. There you go.
Sorry. We have that kind of level in every position on the field, pretty much. Like, you can compare any of the players in the All-Star with Chicho, with Brian, with Gareth Bale, with Thifu, with Murillo, Eddie Segura, Giorgio, Chiellini. So Max on the goal. You can feel it here too, but I come from a very good taste in everyday training and games in my team. So not much of a difference in that aspect. Other than here, all the players look the same because they are all number 10s. You know,
you've mentioned that, yeah.
And very similar qualities, but great players also.
So this is your second appearance in the All-Star game. There's a lot of new faces on the roster this year, not just as All-Stars, but to the league. What's different from now since 2018's appearance in the All-Stars?
Well, as you say, I I think that the majority of the guys here is their first appearance in the All-Star, and
a lot of first-timers.
Yeah, you would say, no, this player must been here since forever, no? But the level of the league is growing very, very fast. But keeping that balance, no, with all the rules that also exist in the league. But yeah, I mean, it's again the same kind of show or lineup or squad, but different faces that yeah, in my opinion, every year the level is growing.
Am I right in saying that SKC Minnesota was that the nice derby, the nicest
nicest rivalry, no?
Nicest rivalry, right? So how do you find yourself now you're back in Minnesota? Do you enjoy being here? What was your
I was explaining to some of my teammates that in 2017 in the old stadium in Minnesota we had a tough game.
Oh, the Gopher Stadium on the turf, right?
Yeah. It was the college stadium, and actually the coach Adrian and myself, we had an argument during the game, and it was kind of the ball went out of bounds, and then we both went to grab that ball, and we kind of had a friendly
coming together
meeting. Yeah, exactly. So after the game everything was okay, but yeah, with Kansas City, the closest rivalry we had, it was Minnesota or Salt Lake or this kind of teams, and it's also special to be in this city.
Did Adrian remember your guys' coming together?
I didn't even ask about it because
you want to play, right?
I'd rather to leave it this way.
Speaking of playing, the one weird topic is you guys all have your signature numbers that you guys play with week in, week out. Do you get to pick your numbers? Do you
for the All-Star?
Yeah, what number are you wearing?
I'm wearing the number 8.
Oh, okay.
In this occasion, and no.
How do you feel about it?
I love it. I love number 8. I love number 6. I don't really care about jersey numbers. But, my first appearance here, I was number 6.
Okay.
And now I'm at number 8.
I care about jersey numbers. Like, I'm a snob about it. And I was thinking, because I was like, yeah, I kind of like the All-Star kit. And I knew that you were going to be our guest, and I was like, maybe I'll get an Ilia All-Star kit because to honor you. But then I was thinking, yeah, but what if he ends up with a number I don't like?
Yeah.
Like what if you end up? I mean, no offense to anyone that wears like 15, but 15 is just not a number that I like. But 8 is it's classic.
Full number, yeah.
Did you wear 8 at any time? Like, because you grew up in an academy with Barca, where I'm assuming your numbers were dictated by them very strictly, right?
Yeah.
And were you always 6, or were you 4?
Yeah, in Barcelona, my position on the field, the defensive midfielder position, back in the days was number 4. So I started with that number, or the 14, just because of 4. I think Thiago was wearing the 4 in the second team. So then I moved to the 6, and I played with the 13 in Germany and 19 in Elche back in Spain. So 6 is my number since I joined the league. And of course in LAFC, that's my number 2, but no, here is going to be the number 8, and I love it too. So
it's still good. I'm good. We're good. We're good. Not that you needed my approval.
No, but I'm glad I have it.
Yes.
You talked about Adrian Heath a little bit, but coming into a new environment, you don't get an opportunity to not only be with new teammates, like you said, but with a different coaching staff and just a completely different environment. How fun is that? Just being able to come in, new group of guys, and just no real pressure.
It's fun and no pressure until the game time comes. No, training sessions has been amazing, and we've got some experience around the players and the coaching staff. But the real time is going to come tomorrow, and then it's no fun anymore, and competition starts.
Just work.
So one of the reasons why we have just like a short time with Ilia is because he's going to the skills competition. He really wants to go, but he really wanted to be in it.
Yes, I wanted to participate.
You did, and you told us same thing you said, like there's too many number 10s, so that's why they all got in it. But I want to ask you then, if you were gonna be in it, what event would you really want to participate in? What would be your best, and then what would be the one that you're like, maybe not for me?
I'm not. I don't know what are the stations or the events that we're gonna.
So there's like the challenge where you gotta be from like the penalty spot and you're trying to hit corners for better points, and they got the moving target. I believe there's like the challenge where you're chest trap and try to volley it into like a farther.
Then there's the crossbar challenge.
Yeah,
crossbar?
something like that. Maybe long balls, kind of trying to hit some long
Right.
range balls and long passes, something like that. Passes.
While we're all here, I didn't get to do the coaches show that you normally see me do every Tuesday. Jordan Harvey took over for me, and Jordan Harvey has set up a little golf course for Steve. So I think after you watch the episode, maybe we should run you through the golf course, because I've talked to you about this, how like the golf clubs and the loft and the spin. I just feel like the way you play that would just be perfect. So maybe we run you through that. I heard that. Well, I don't want to give anything away, but I heard your coach did fairly well. So maybe we get just a reoccurring competition in that regard.
I'm in.
And who knows? Maybe next year when you're an All-Star for the third time, this is your marketing tool to get MLS to have you participate in the skills challenge.
Oh, this is true. So if you're an LAFC fan and you want Ilia to be in the skills challenge next year, which we know he'll be playing at the level, but you got to get out there and vote.
No, and that's on us, not only on the fans and LAFC people, but also on us to keep this track that we are having this season so far, and the most important time is coming, and hopefully we can lift the trophies.
So this will come out after the game happens. So I'm not going to force you to give me a score prediction, because I know you probably won't anyways. But just tell me how you think the game goes.
It's going to be a tough game. They have a lot of quality. They have intensity. They have everything a team needs to compete and to be strong. And I think that we have also quality, a lot of power, especially in front. And if we can keep the balance within the team, both lineups, I think that we are going to be close to win the game. If you want a result, 1-0.
Oh,
that's enough.
Okay.
But an Ilia Sanchez last-minute winner
From the spot.
from the spot.
You walk up and you're like, I got the ball.
You know
No.
what? You know what'll be crazy if that actually happens.
If that actually happens, you might need to come to us for lottery numbers. But this has been the Connor and Vince podcast for the second half with the All-Star Ilia, who is now a podcast All-Star. We got to get you some kind of kit for that. We'll figure that out. I'll leave that to Max. Max is a stylish character. He does have a great hat. We'll have some of those. Maybe we'll give some of those out when we do when 110 football, like pre and post game.
They're great, so that's why I'm wearing it.
Thank you,
Nice.
Ilia.
How else can we wrap it up? But again, this is Inside LAFC, the Connor and Vince or Max and Vince podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend. Check out this guy, All-Star Game. If you haven't watched it, you can watch it back, ESPN. We will see you guys next week.